All right. Hello, everyone. This is Justin from Fiddlework Gaming. Welcome back to our crafting stream. So I'm gonna be just finishing off this terracotta roof house that we started last time. If you didn't catch the video last time, it's up on YouTube, a replay. You can check that out if you want. But basically, this is what we did. The end goal is here. So we're going to basically paint this up today and make it look a little bit like this. And apart from that, we are, yeah, basically we're going to work on this little tree clump over here as well. So just a quick update from last time. So you saw me in the last video apply this kind of stucco effect to the exterior of the house. The core is like this foam board, and we just put on some grout, basic non-sanded grout that you can get at the hardware store, and then just stuck that on. I cut up a pizza box for the roof, and then just put like corrugated cardboard to give this tile effect. So we're gonna paint that up. And you didn't see last time is I put these kind of rough window markings on. I wasn't too fancy with it because I wanted to look like kind of old and decrepit or like run down. And I added this small door, which is a better door than this one, I think, because it's a lot. This door is too thick. I made it actually out of a piece of foam board, but this one I just cut up a popsicle stick. And yes, you are first, lowlife. Welcome, welcome. I was just going through what I did last time. I added this small little door here and some windows, and we're gonna paint those up and the rest of the house. A little bit early. Well, I kind of started at 7 talking, but before that it was just the starting soon thing. Oh, don't feel cheated. I didn't go through anything yet. How's the stream quality today? I've noticed I'm getting a few drop frames. I don't know if you can notice it on your end. Hopefully it's okay. I don't know how my internet, if it's a bit touchy this time. But I hope it's okay. Trying to push the quality a little bit more. So yeah, let's get started painting this house up. I'm just gonna put this one over here for now, and then we'll compare to 2. So in order to get this done today, okay, no problem. So it's probably just dropping a little bit. I'll dial back the bit rate on the next video. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and paint this up. We'll start with the roof, because that by the time that's dry, we can do dry brushing and all that. So I'll just set this aside, and yeah, and then we'll just start with the roof. So I'm just gonna use basic dollar store, craft store paints. These are just basic cheap acrylic paints, because I like to save my expensive paints for miniatures and things that you can really notice it. For terrain, usually I just use this kind of stuff. And we're gonna mix a little bit of this like orangey, what do they call it? Is it the right color? Canyon orange, and we're gonna mix that with raw sienna. So we're gonna mix these 2 colors. I think last time I did it about a half and half. We'll see how that looks. Just add a blob here. We can use a bunch because these paints are pretty cheap. And we're just gonna put them in a little pile there and mix those up. So mix these up here, and we'll see how that looks. Ooh, it's quite a bit of paint. That's okay. Probably use it all up. How's that looking? Too brown. It's a little bit brown. We're gonna add a little bit more of the canyon orange to make it a little bit more of an orangey color. We'll just do that. There we go. Lowlife was kind enough to offer me gloves for this stream. But I don't need it this time. Last time would have been handy. Maybe I'll take him up on his offer and use some gloves for next stream. Or next time I do any kind of crafting stuff. Where my hands might get messy. So I think that's a good color. You can kind of see it here. So we're just going to put this on the roof. And we're just going to paint that in. Just nice and easy. Don't have to be fancy with this. Just kind of stick it on. Make sure you get a good cover. You want to be careful not to get the stucco. So we'll just be careful with the edges. And we'll just give a good cover for most of the roof. You want to really get it in the cracks so you don't have too much of that cardboard color showing underneath. Just like that. There we go. Just want to brighten that roof up with some nice terracotta color. You can really feel it brighten up like it was in bright sunlight. Perfect. There we go. Oh, you can hear my autofocus going out of control. I'll try to keep it in one space. There we go. Okay. Now we got this side to do. I'm just going to put it on liberally. There we go. Make sure we get in all the cracks, nooks and crannies. And just color this roof right up. Make it a bright, sunny terracotta roof. And then later on we're going to dull it down with some weathered effects, age and weather. Just be careful not to get the stucco. And there we go. Perfect. I'll just be right back. Hang on. So this is just really easy to paint, these houses. Just simple techniques. Washing and dry brushing. And just using craft paints. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy. Alright. Okay. And we don't want the paint to pool, so we just want to make sure yeah, the roof part is the pizza box. Is there a difference because of the texture? Between what do you mean? The texture between which? The other roof? Or the one we already completed, or between something else? We're just gonna whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Oh, yeah. I mean, the difference in techniques that I use, not so much. Well, sometimes it's based on the texture of the material themselves, but more so it's based on what kind of effect I want coming off that texture, or coming off basically the end result that I want. So if I want like a, for example, if I'm painting stone, something that looks like stone, I'll use dry brushing techniques because it kind of, when you dry brush, it makes things dull and dusty, kind of like makes that dull kind of like rocks or sand or anything like that. So that's why I'm gonna dry brush the house, the stucco, because it's kind of a earthy, rocky material, earth-based material. So that'll look really nice. With clothing, sometimes you don't want to do dry brushing because it might, you don't, unless you want your clothes to look kind of dusty, it could come off as a not what you want. So with when painting miniatures, even though whether it be plastic or metal or whatever, for clothes you generally want to do layering techniques to make a smooth gradient on your clothing. That way it looks more like fabric instead of dusty rock or something like that. And then for when I'm basing miniatures, I'll do dry brushing with this, then it picks off all the nice little stone material. I believe I started on time. Welcome, Thomas. Thanks for joining. Maybe I'll start 1 minute after 7 next time. So yeah, we pretty much got the base. I'm just checking. Yeah, we pretty much got the base of this roof painted. I'll just add a few more spots to where I missed, just in the nooks and crannies. Like here. I'll get right in there. Right in there. I know, I mean, I think the pizza box, maybe I should have made that the title of the video. Making a house with a pizza box. Seems to be a hit technique. And you get to eat pizza, or it's an excuse to eat pizza, which is great. And you have to finish it, because if you don't finish it, you won't be able to use the box. There. So we're gonna let that dry. Now what we're gonna do is paint all of this kind of white part, and we're just gonna use a color that's quite similar, not quite the same, but similar to the stucco, the grout color that we used. So I'm just gonna mix that up. I have to get some paper towel. I'll be right back. I forgot that again. I'll remember it next time. There we go. I've got something to clean my brushes now. KFC has a Cyber Monday sale. It's not exactly cyber. What are they using? Techno chickens? 50% off all buckets. Okay. Oh, I see. It's the online ordering. I thought KFC might have branched out into other markets, but I see. All right. So we're gonna paint this color here. What is this called? Fawn. So we're gonna fawn over this fawn color. I mean, you're probably not wrong, Thomas. I mean, I've heard KFC chicken to be all sorts of, I don't know if they're genetically engineered or they've got 3 heads and 5 legs. I've heard all sorts of stories. They're probably just fake news, but yeah. Those extra legs are the best one. You know, I love when you order chicken from certain shops. I don't know if KFC does it, but there's a place called High Five Chicken, and you can just order. There's an online option just for ordering dark meat, which I really like. So I can just order thighs and legs, or I can just order thighs. I think I can get rid of all the legs, and just order the thighs, which is great because in my house all the breast meat gets left over, and basically it's like when you get desperate, you have the breast meat. Soft jazz DJ? Oh. Yeah, I'm going a little bit more casual today with a tank top. Probably get cold later on. This room is the coldest in my house, so but I don't know, streaming just gets me so excited that my body temperature just rises up. What is the outfit? Well, I'm painting today as well, so I made a mess of my outfit last time. Unfortunately, I do still have nice pants on for some reason, which I didn't need to wear because you can't even see my pants. So I'll be careful not to get it on my pants today. Alright, so we're just painting the inside of the house the same color. I don't know if you can see. And that'll just be the walls. A little bit more. Show off the pants. Maybe when I have to get up and do something, I'll show off my pants. I don't really want to be one of those streamers though. So we'll save that till later. All right, so I'm just getting all this white part covered up. Stream shame. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I guess that was kind of a stream shame. Hey, I'm not opposed. I don't fancy it myself. We'll see. Don't quote me on that. We'll see. 10 months down the road, maybe I'll be different. Okay, we're just getting around the door. I don't really have to paint. I'll do it anyway. Just paint it above the door because you can kind of see it. Only if you're looking at this angle, but that's okay. And we're just going to go over the walls. We can kind of be quick about this. It doesn't have to be too fancy. We want to get good coverage, so we might have to do another go around. Yeah, we'll just get inside the window. So all looks good. Just like that. Like that for all painting. You think so? Lean into the fancy? Maybe I could do that. I could be a fancy painter. I just have to buy like really cheap ties that look good on camera, but aren't good in real life, and then I could justify it. Because I would get, wearing a tie, I know I'd get paint all over it all the time. So I'd have to have a wardrobe of several identical black ties. Oop. There we go. Okay, we're almost done our interior walls. Maybe we'll just touch this up here and touch this up over here. Whoops. You can kind of see. Yes, exactly. 7 identical outfits. But one step at a time. You guys are helping me build my brand. I'm appreciating all the input. Perfect. There we go. So I've almost got the interior walls done. I'll just probably go over them one more time just to cover up those lightly covered areas. But we'll just be quick about it. Just like so. This is really easy painting, guys. It's just so satisfying because it's so easy, not finicky. It's nice to go back and forth between miniatures and terrain, because miniatures you really have to concentrate on the details. With terrain you can just get creative and do all this experiment to see if you can I don't know, make fancy effects or different kind of effects when you paint. And if you screw up, it's not really a big deal because you can just go over it with terrain, I find. With miniatures, you can't really go over it too much because eventually you're going to start painting it up so much that that you'll start to lose detail after a while. But with terrain, because it's bigger, you don't really need to worry about losing too much detail. Okay, so we got the interior walls done. We'll do the same thing. Just be careful not to touch this side. But we got these little edges, white edges, which will show. So we'll paint those up as well in the same kind of color. All right. And we're just painting the edges, just like that. Don't need to worry about the other side. Just need to be careful on one side, so that it doesn't go onto your nicely painted terracotta area. But the underside of the house, no one's gonna see that. So miniatures don't look up, so it'll be fine. Ooh, I'm excited. Now, did you guys go with, you went with Hero Forge, correct? Pre-painted. An overlay. Yeah, Megan actually has some for her streams. But I don't know. Don't repeat, shame me. Well, you know, Alex, you can always just highlight those pre-painted areas. This is annoying me. I'm just gonna, oh, this is terrible. So, there we go. I'm gonna paint that again. Yeah, I don't know about the overlay. I don't think I'll do it for this. Because maybe it's a bit hard to center the frame as it is. I don't know. I can try it. I'll try it next time, maybe. Okay, so let's check out our roof. Is it dry? It's not quite dry yet, so we're going to leave that a little bit more. And we'll start with dry brushing now. So we're going to dry brush the exterior. And we're just going to make it... what's going on with my focus here? Well, we're gonna lock this for a bit, maybe. So we're gonna dry brush this with mostly white. Oh, a step I forgot to mention too is I covered the exterior of this. Remember I said last time it was once you use the grout, it gets a bit dusty unless you seal it. So you need to put some of this Mod Podge, or you can just use white glue mixed with water, and just kind of after it's dry, so wait at least 24 hours, make sure it's fully dry, and then just paint a layer, a thin layer of this, just to seal the outside of the stucco. And once you've done that, it'll seal, and it won't the dusty part won't dry off and rub off. And I've also done it with this part too, and now it's locked the kind of sand onto the grout. So that's all ready for painting. So that being said, we're going to do some dry brushing. How does this house compare to the miniatures inside? That's a good question. I actually have some miniatures here that I painted up. These are my Milicianos Indios. So these are kind of unique miniatures in that they, I'll just show you up close and personal. They have bow and arrows. So most of the miniatures in Blood and Plunder have muskets or guns, stuff like that. But you get a few models, if you're playing Spanish, you get a few models equipped with bows or options for bows. That's the only European-based faction that has bows. Some of the other ones can take them in little bits and pieces with certain commanders. But the native faction is another like kind of giant faction in I guess it's called a nationality, even though Native American isn't. I mean, it's more complicated than that. But anyways, they call it the Native American nationality. But those kind of armies only have bows, or mostly have bows. It's kind of the other way around. They have very few muskets and mostly bows. So yeah, looking at them in the house, I'll just put a few in the house and a few outside so you can kind of get scale. So that's kind of how big it is. Oops, probably not quite dry, but that's okay. So you can kind of get a idea of the size. Can they fit through the door? They can kind of fit through the door. I mean, I won't do it because they're I just painted them, and I don't want to rub off any like paint that any ugly brown paint that I just made right now. Make sure I didn't accidentally do it when I was putting them in the house. But yeah, it is sized for them. How did I measure the height? I measured it with Dwarven Forge actually. So this is kind of the same size as a Dwarven Forge piece, which I use for D&D. So I thought I'd make these kind of the same size. The height of the wall anyway. The roof is obviously a bit taller, but that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna do this dry brushing thing, and we're just gonna mix. We're gonna put mostly white, but we're gonna tint it with some of that fawn color. And we don't need much, just a little bit, maybe like that. And then we're gonna mix it, and we're gonna see how it looks, and then we might do some more mixing. You can get, if you really have a color you like, you can get more technical with this and really measure out how many parts white, how many parts beige you want. But I'm just gonna go by eye. This look is looking a little bit dark, so I'm gonna add more white. I want it to be quite light. Almost just an off-white color, and that's looking okay. It's looking pretty good. Mix that all in there. How does that look? I could actually even go whiter yet. So you don't need much. You don't need much of the fawn color. That's probably pretty good. All right, and then we're just gonna dry this brush off because we're gonna do the dry brushing technique. Dry it off as much as we can. Good and dry. And then we're just gonna lightly brush over just lightly brush over. Let's see how this looks. And it's quite subtle, so you might not notice it at first. You might not even be able to notice it on camera. I don't know if you can see. It's pretty hard to tell. But we're gonna do a final dry brush in an even lighter color. And that'll just be a light. So we're building like layers of dry brush on top of this house. And there you go. This side, you can probably see it a bit more, maybe. Just kind of. And we'll do the other side a little bit more. So depending on what texture you're dry brushing, you can add a bit more paint or a little less paint. I'm gonna add a little bit more paint because it doesn't seem like it's sticking as well. And it actually looks good, a bit more liberally applied. So, yeah, you can kind of see the difference there? I don't know if you can see. Might be hard to tell on camera. But one side is, this side's lighter. This side has not been dry brushed yet. But it's easy peasy. And it looks really nice after you do it. It just brightens the whole thing up and adds a lot of depth. A lot of depth to it. A little more. And you see I'm just going all the way around. Apply a lot in the corners. Looks pretty good. These corners here, these corners here. And there we are. So, it's largely dry brushed. Don't forget the roof. Oh, maybe you can tell. So you can tell. Let's probably see a little bit more that way. The roof has not been dry brushed yet, but the bottom part has. So it's just subtle difference, but makes a difference, trust me. Especially when you see it in person, you can definitely tell. And I like this white, this kind of color scheme because it really shows that I don't know, it just makes that sun bleached kind of tropical look. Like the stucco's just been sitting in the sun for years. There. Voila. Okay. The roof's dry, so we can probably get cracking. Oh, actually there's a little bit, it's probably fine. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a little bit lighter color. Actually, you know what? Let's see if the inside's dry. Is that dry yet? Yeah, we're just gonna, since we have some of this color left, we're just gonna do the interior walls. And we're just gonna get a softer brush for that, so we don't make big smears. Let's see, what's the softest brush I have? This old brush here is pretty good. I'm just gonna dip this. Do the same thing. Wipe a bunch of the paint off. And just kind of messily dry brush the inside of the walls. Just like Just like that. So you don't have to be too fancy with this. If it looks like you're getting some defined strokes, they look a bit unnatural, just just go over it, spread it around more, do little circles and little organic movements. This is the inside, so it's not a big deal if it looks a little off. I mean, you might care a little bit more, but for me, I just want to have a kind of quick effect. So just so it doesn't look so plain, it looks a little bit more like wall. Too much paint. Dry that up. Just want to paint that around. If you really want to get fun, you can add little blood stains, blood splatter, like Dexter on the wall. Yeah, just go crazy. And if you want to get really fancy, you could do the same thing I did with the floor and wood panel the walls. If you want to make a little bit more of a cozy interior. But for me, I just have plain plastered walls. And there we go. That looks good. Exactly, because they're peasants. Or pirates. But in any regards, they don't have a bunch of money. Okay, we're going to do a little bit lighter of color on the roof. And we're just going to dry brush the little raised edges of the terracotta tiles. So we're going to take that same color, this canyon orange, we're just going to put it there. What did I do last time? I think I mixed it with a bit of white, maybe. So I'll just add a little bit of white and see how that looks. Just gonna mix that together, see how that looks. It's looking a little bit bright, so we'll pull back in some of that color we had before. And we'll mix the whole thing up. How does that look? How bright do I want it? I think I want to add a touch more of this. I don't want it too bright. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Definitely a lot brighter than the base. And then we're going to use this. A soft brush again. Make sure we get a bunch of paint off of it. And then we're just going to do the easy peasy part of just going back and forth along the eaves. Just like so. This is so easy and quick to do. And it's actually quite satisfying. Because it just kind of brightens up all at once. Yeah, we're just gonna back and forth. Just be careful. Don't be too hasty. Just go slow and build it up slowly. You don't want to spread too much paint on it once because, well, you don't want to ruin it. You just want to build up slowly and it should look pretty good. There, so you can see one half done. Flip it around, do the other side. Just like so. There. I just love how it brightens right up when you're painting it. It looks like so dull and flat. And when you dry brush, picks up all the little raised edges and it looks so nice. Just looks so, I don't know, so happy after. It's really brightens it up. Perfect. And it's looking pretty good. A little bit dry. Put a little bit more. And then we'll get the final kind of tile at the top. Just dry brush both sides. Just to finish it off. Our dry brushing will be, for the roof anyway, will be complete. So, you can see, even now it looks pretty good. Oops, maybe that fits better this way. Looks pretty good. We still have some work to do. It looks like a new house now, like it's freshly constructed. But we don't want a new house. We want an old, kind of weathered house. So you can see the difference between these two roofs. This one looked exactly the same pre-wash, and you can see the stucco effects a little bit quite similar, but I put some wash on this and some moss effects, so we're gonna do the same thing with this one. But we're gonna wait that dry. We don't want to put it on the wash too soon because we want to wait for it to dry. It doesn't have to be super dry, just or super cured, I should say, but it should be dry to touch. So we'll just let that sit. We can probably do this part though. Oh, you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some. So remember I said last time I didn't get all of this paper off of the cardboard. You can see here that some of the roof has this like paper left on it. It's not completely clean. It's harder to tell now that I painted, but there's still a few little spots where it's not completely clean. So on those spots, I'm gonna actually put some green paint, and that will be mossy areas. So we're just gonna put some green paint as a kind of base. I'll get another brush for that. And again, we're just gonna kind of dry brush it. We're just gonna stipple those spots that have the paper on it. So whatever spot you see that kind of has the excess paper left over, you just want to stipple some green color on there. And you can, if you don't have any, if your thing's completely clean, you can still do this. You can just put it on some spots at random. But for me, I just like to cover up the paper parts. And it kind of looks like I did it on purpose, even though I didn't. I'm just hiding mistakes because I was lazy. It's always fun to be lazy, especially when you can fool people to thinking you did it on purpose, even though you're just lazy. There. Here, and maybe some over here. So we're just being kind of messy here. And that looks quite bright right now, so it looks kind of weird. Especially see that way, kind of cartoony. But that's gonna resolve itself when we put the wash on. You know what? We're gonna put a few of those green spots on the bottom of the house as well. So you'll see, let me just grab this. So you'll see on the bottom here, I added some green spots here and I mixed it with the wash. So we're gonna do the same thing. And this one doesn't have paper on it, so this one you can just figure out as you go along. I'll put some in the front. Just like, I don't know, just stipple some green here and there. Doesn't really matter where it goes. You want to make it kind of messy. Don't want to make it uniform. But it's sometimes good to make it wider at the bottom than it is at the top. Might look a little bit more natural that way. Other than that, don't really need to worry about it. So I just did that. So again, this looks a little weird, but when we put the wash on, which is what we're going to do now, now we want to put the wash on while the paint's kind of wet, because we want that green to mix into the wash. And the wash I'm using here is strong tone. So it's like a dark brown wash. And now what we're gonna do is we can use this same. Let's see what brush we'll use. Yeah, we'll use the same big brush. That's okay. I think we'll be okay with the big brush. Just make sure we get the paint off of it. Oop. And then we're just gonna dab that on, just like so. No, I don't like this brush. Change my mind. I'm gonna use this brush. A little more control. A little more control with the small brush. We're just gonna kind of speckle that on. And this makes like and we're just putting this on the bottom, not everywhere. And you kind of want a very, very dark spot and light spots. And I like to go up in the corners a little bit. Kind of like that. And you can go as high as you want. I like to go about, I don't know, a little ways up. And then we're just gonna stipple this on. This is, you're not really it is a wash, but you're not really, I'm kind of stippling as I wash it. So it's not a real traditional wash technique like I use for minis. And if you find that your green's a little bit too bright, you can just get right in there and brush it. And it should, because it's freshly painted, it should just mix into the wash a little bit. And again, you don't have to be crazy. You can do several washes if you want of different colors. It'll probably look even more organic that way. Or if you're scared of making it look too dark, you just do a light wash and then you just go over it again. Just go over it several times until you find the color you like or the effect you like. And then there you go. You do whatever you want. Oh, it looks pretty nice. I really like this step because it just starts to look so natural. Just like it was born that way. Like we didn't do anything, it just came out that way. How does that look? You know what? I think we're gonna add a green wash to this too. Why not? while the wash is wet, we're gonna add some green tones to this. Just kind of like that. Oh, you're having dinner? I had my dinner. I had Shanghainese food tonight. What are you... I don't know if that means Thomas is going away or he's eating dinner. Yeah, make some green in there. There, that looks pretty good. And then maybe with these windows, I don't want to put some wash under the eaves. I don't know. Whoops, I mixed some, my wash got contaminated. It's okay. Add some more. It's empty. Alright, so we're just gonna add some of this, maybe some of the strong tone under the window. Under the window. It looks pretty good under the window. Just like it's dripping down. You can even add some streaks like this if you want. Maybe it's dripping down from the roof. I don't know. Oh, maybe not that side, but maybe this side. Something like that. Whatever you want. That's pretty good. Okay, I think that's probably pretty good. Gives a more dirty effect. Kind of see how it's coming together. Now, I think we're ready to do. I think we'll do one final highlight. Just a very bright highlight, a very light and bright highlight over the top of the stucco. Now, make sure don't get this in the part that you washed over, because that'll just ruin it. But I'm just going to put this on the very... I'm just going to mix it mostly white with just a tinge of that other mix, that off-white color we had before. This is going to be a brighter highlight. I'm just going to lightly brush it over just the tops. And you don't even have to get out everything. Just get just a few strokes to brighten it up. Just like that. Here and there. And the lighter the color, the easier it will be to spot when it's like you just have to use a light touch. You'll definitely be able to notice it. There you go. Something like that. So it's coming together pretty good. Now, I think the roof's dry enough, so we're gonna do a wash on the roof. That same brown color, strong tone, if I can find my full bottle. And we're just gonna put this on top. I'm gonna use the same brush, have a little bit more control. Just got a bunch of white paint over me, so I'm gonna make sure I don't get that on my nice new building. And we're just gonna wash the roof. So you just want to apply it. This one you want to apply it so it looks like it goes right into the recesses. It goes right down into the kind of gutters of the tiles. And if it doesn't, make sure it does. Just go over it a little bit more. Be a little bit more careful. But you really want to make sure you get a nice change in color from the light parts to the dark parts. Because that's what we're here for. Change in contrast and color to make it look nice and realistic. Kind of like that. You know, now that I'm thinking, I might have used a red tone before on my other roof. So this one might be a bit... Yeah, I did use a red tone. So this one might be a bit darker. You know what? I'm going to go over it again in a red tone. Yeah, it will flatten out a bit when it dries, and it'll lighten up when it dries as well. That's okay. The roof, they don't have to be the same color. They don't have to be the same. It can be pretty close, but you know, maybe one roofer decided to do something different. So I'm just going to go over this in the red tone. You know, I forget what color I use now. They're both looking different, so that's okay. We're kind of mixing two washes together, which could have a cool effect too. Like a reddy brown. Yeah, like a reddy brown effect. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Now, what you don't want to do is do the red on the other side and not use the brown, not use the strong tone. We'll do the exact same thing we did, so it's uniform. Otherwise, we're going to get one roof that's like completely different. So quickly go over this in the strong tone. Just like so. Make sure I get in there the nooks and crannies. Don't want any light parts showing. Nice, and really going through this. Really going through this wash. Cardboard and wood materials in general tend to soak up paint, so be mindful of that. Especially if you're painting something expensive, or sorry, you have expensive paints rather. If you're painting something wood, just be mindful that the wood's going to soak up a lot more paint, a considerable amount, compared to painting plastic or metal or something like that. Okay, we're going to add some red to that, just like we did on the other side. And you know, if you really want to match things and you're like, oh man, this roof is way too dark compared to the other one, you can always go over it again and just highlight it again, or yeah, do what you want. Because like, you can go back and forth, whatever you want to do, just to kind of match things up. It's easier to do in one step, just to repeat the same thing you did on the others. The project before, but if you don't quite remember what you did, you can dry brush and do a wash and go back and forth just to see how you can match things. And it should be, especially when you're doing terrain, it should be good enough. So that's looking pretty good. This one might have a little bit more darker in the eaves. I put a little bit more wash on, it appears. Maybe not. We'll see how it dries. When it dries, it's sometimes different. We'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna see this one. I think, yeah, this one I also applied a dry brush after I washed it. So we'll do the same thing, and I'll brighten it up a bit. But that's kind of good for now. Now let's just check the. What did I paint the floor in here? We'll do the window sills and the wood floor now. So we're just gonna take this color. It's wood color, raw sienna. Yeah, that sounds like a real Bob Ross color, raw sienna. We're just gonna paint all the wood parts of the building like that. I was listening to Bob Ross the other day at work. Never listened to Bob Ross at work because I almost fell asleep at my computer. Especially if you're working on, well, if you're working at home, doing a white collar job like I do, it's a little more safe. But don't listen to Bob Ross, especially if you're like in construction or anything that's using dangerous equipment, because it just puts you to sleep. Like, I don't know what it is. It just it could hardly stay awake. Okay, we're just painting the floorboards this color. This is so easy to paint, and I love painting popsicle sticks because you don't even have to texture them. They're already pre-textured. They're already wood. It's great. Yeah, he does need a disclaimer. Definitely does. Alright, that's getting most of the interior. Oh, well, a little bit. I got a little bit, but I'll go over it with a wash later, and it'll kind of tone down. So you wanna kind of wash it, like the floor, so it, if you can see, so the crease here kind of blends together. So I'll put a wash and I'll go in the crease, and you won't notice the mistakes as much. Also, this is a kind of a hovel shack pour thing, so we get a little bit on the walls. That's just the painters screwing up. You know, they're probably hired for cheap, not the greatest carpenters or floorers, whatever you call them. So they're probably like, what the hell? I'll just get this done quickly and then get paid and go out and drink or something. Okay. This is why I like painting poor looking things, because you don't have to be too finicky. You can just kind of do what you want. I'm going to get a different brush for this. Speaking of finicky, I should paint the windows so they're not touching the stucco, or I don't paint the stucco at the same time. So we'll be a little bit more delicate with these. We don't want wood colored stucco. And then we'll just do that. Perfect, there we go. And even this wood part, I don't bother painting the bottom. I'm not going to be looking at it from the bottom. So I'll just paint the top of it. Just the top edges. That's fine. Doesn't bother me. It's only what you're going to see, right? No one's going to be looking at a building upside down. Unless there's an earthquake, but that's a different system. Paint the other window. And again, you don't have to be too, you don't have to cover this as much. So there's a little bit of the natural wood, natural popsicle stick coming through. That's okay. Kind of shows variance in the wood tones. Sometimes you do want a lot of cover. If it's something that shouldn't be as organic. But if you're painting a wood color on wood, it's natural to have little difference in variations in color. So having the natural color of the popsicle stick shine through is just fine. You know, add another layer of organicness to the wood when you add the wash. So this is the way you build up a kind of like 3 layers. The natural popsicle stick color underneath, the base paint color, and then the wash. And the dry brush. So 4, I guess. And that just makes things look natural. And that's what we want. There we go. Now this door is a lot better than the other one. The other one I did it was way too thick, so it's like a heavy reinforced door, I guess. This one's a lot more normal. Just like a normal kind of ramshackle wooden door. Oh, hello! Welcome, welcome. Ah, that's okay. You can watch. I'm just painting. Oh, you can't hear me, but anyways, just enjoy watching. I appreciate you coming on your lunch break. Oh, thank you, Lowlife, for relaying my message. We're just finishing up this door. I think that this is such a speedy paint job. I'm loving it. Compared to miniatures, which you paint just a little bit of it, and it takes so long. This is just a breath of fresh air. Here I said I didn't worry about the bottom of things, but I'm gonna paint the bottom. It's just right there staring at me in the face. Okay, there we go. And then we'll paint the inside. Just quickly. Something like that. Kinda messy like, it's fine. Yeah. Looks good. There we go. Okay, the roof's gonna take a while to dry. This is gonna take a while to dry. So we're gonna move on to the palm trees. Now, what color do you want to paint this? I think a nice, do you want to paint it the same beachy color? This is kind of a nice, yeah, maybe we'll paint it this color. It's kind of a nice beach color. I think that's what I painted the other one. So we'll paint it this, and then we're gonna wash it. And hopefully when we're washing it, we can go back to the house, finish the house, and then this will be dry and we'll go back to the palm trees, and then we'll be able to do that. We're doing a systematic approach to painting, which is a really good idea when you batch paint miniatures. Paint them in sequence, and then once you've washed and you come to the end of the line, hopefully the first miniature that you wash should be dry for you to start your next step. So yeah, we're just painting it this color. This is just the base paint. And then we'll go over it with a wash and then a dry brush. And then we'll add some nice little nifty tree clumps or shrubbery clumps later on in the grass and whatnot. We can probably do that tonight, I think. It's not going to take too long. Oh, see you, Manjinder. Thanks for dropping by. Really appreciate it. Mia might join later on in the stream. We'll see. I know she's in some calls right now, so. Lowlife, what are your ideas for the next stream? What do you want to see next? Do you want to see more painting? Do you want to see a battle? Any desires? Something else? More terrain? I guess what was your favorite so far? Did you like the live battle report or the painting ones? Let me just see. Make sure I'm getting all the little places I haven't missed anywhere. Just like there. Ooh, I almost dipped the wrong color. That was a close one. Yeah, it's nice to kind of go through the whole process, isn't it? Just to see it from start to finish, you can kind of see how it unfolds. There. So we're gonna let this dry for a bit, and hopefully we'll come back to that and add a wash to it. Now, oof. Still wet in there. Everything's wet over on this side. How's the roof doing? Still wet. So, I have to wait a bit. I have to wait a little bit. That means I can take a break and have a sip of water. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I haven't painted. I don't know, you saw my collection, Low Life, so there's hundreds of miniatures I need to paint. I've been doing Blood and Plunder recently because I feel like it's something I can finish. I don't have many Blood and Plunder miniatures compared to like Lord of the Rings or D&D, so it'll just be fun to finish all of them. And besides that, usually the way I like to paint miniatures is for D&D, I guess, because I have something in mind a few weeks down the road, and then I'll like, ooh, I should get this painted. This will be really cool. And then I'll paint it, and then the group will do something totally different, and we won't use it. Sometimes we will, but just kind of like the motivation to have it available as an option for an encounter is kind of what motivates me to paint D&D related stuff. Show off some of the ones you never saw. Okay, let me go into the cabinet. I'll be right back. I'll show you one or two that I painted. I don't know if you saw these or not, but I can. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so I have a few. You might have seen these because they're lying around my house. But this I painted when I was very young. I think I painted when I was 15. The Balrog from Lord of the Rings. This would be great for like any sort of demon devil boss. That would be really cool. Maybe Pit Fiend. Maybe it's a bit big for a Pit Fiend. I don't know. But anyways, be very, very neat for a D&D encounter. So I got him. Just put him on my computer for now. Be watching us paint. And I got this owl bear that I painted a little while ago. I was gonna use him for Storm King's Thunder, but the group decided to go in a different direction. So I don't think we've used him as an owlbear yet. He might have been proxied. We might have proxied him as something else. But yeah. And then third thing is you guys were going to fight this, but we ended up having to do it online. Shambling Mound. I might have proxied him for something else as well. I can't remember, but you guys never fought a Shambling Mound by itself. Yeah, there were 3 of them. So I kind of have 3 of them. Well, hang on, I have another one. So I was gonna use this as one too. This kind of this Treebeard from Lord of the Rings, but I thought he'd make a good Shambling Mound. Big Ent. Yeah, with the hobbits on top. Can you see the little hobbits? Merry and Pippin. They're just chilling. If it was D&D, they'd be evil little halflings that the Shambling Mound just hurls at you and attack you. And maybe a halfling hurl attack. Lowlife, I might have to step out for a little bit. I'm hearing my dog whine. He might have to go out, so I'm just going to take him quickly for a pee. He's been having some bladder issues recently, so I'm just going to be right back and I'll take him out, and I'll try to be as quick as I can. All right. So my wife just got off her meeting, so she's going to take our dog out, which was really nice. Thank you. But yeah, let's check our. We should be able to kind of wood dries pretty quick, so we can probably start putting some wash on this. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. Let's check the roof, see how it is. So it's getting there as well. And it's a little bit darker than the other roof, but it's pretty close. Especially once we add some highlights, it'll be even closer. Okay, so wash. We're gonna use the strong tone for the wash. All right. So we're just applying basic strong tone on these windows, and look pretty dry to me, so it should be fine. Now you kind of want to, I'm applying a bit heavier of a wash, because I want a darker looking wood. It should be good. We'll do it on the other window. Just like that. Just like so. There we go. And then do some on the door. Just looks really nice with washes, especially wood. Then we're gonna highlight it later. It looks, ooh, it's gonna look so nice. There we go. Perfect. It's so fun just to paint these, paint easy stuff like this. It's just it's little to no work. Can make it look so nice and natural. And there we go. So we're gonna do, where's our strong tone? We're gonna do the floor the same way. Same wood tone, I'm gonna do the floor. Get our strong tone. We're just gonna paint it along the floorboards. I'm gonna make sure it can get in the cracks. Again, we don't have to cover everything, but just try to make sure you get in the cracks real good. There we go. And if you get some on the wall, that's okay. Remember those painters, they're just not doing a very good job. A little bit more, a little bit more coverage with the wash. Make sure you want it to sink in there real good like. There we go. There. So, it's looking pretty good. Oops, got the door, got the windows. Missed a spot here, which we'll get. There we go. And Oh, yeah, Alex. Megan actually just got off work, so I asked if she could take her out, and she was very nice to do that. So I got back quicker than I thought. But all we did was apply a wash. So this wash here, the same color, the strong tone, and we just applied it to the doors and all the wooden parts because it's already dry. So that's the effect it has on the floor now. Still wet, but you can see the doors a lot darker, and we did it to the windows. So we're gonna let that sit and dry, and we're gonna check out our roof, which is nearly dry. Let me just look at it. Might have to wait a bit more. Let's check out our. Is this dry? No, that's not quite dry either. But I think with the roof, I think we can apply some light highlights to the if we're really delicate, because most of the wash right now is in the recesses. If we're really delicate, we can dry brush the top. So we'll use the same kind of mix, the terracotta color, and then we'll mix in a little bit of white to that. Okay, and we're just gonna be very delicate with this because we don't want it to be too bright. So we'll just pick this up and we'll just lightly dry brush it. Oh yeah, there we go. And there, we're not picking up any of the still wet underneath. We're just picking up the highlights, just the very tips. And it's a bit darker of a roof than our other one, but it's still terracotta and it's still looking pretty nice. This one you can just think of it just was built a few years before the other one. So had a little bit more time to age. And we're just dry brushing very lightly on the top and do the center tile piece. There. So that looks pretty good. And all that's left is for that to kind of dry. So I'll compare the two roofs. So you can see it's definitely darker, but it's still pretty close. It's just older and darker. Now what we're gonna do is, remember those green areas? I'm gonna put some flock on that, on those areas, and we can do for our other parts of the house. So get some flock here. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna put some glue. Put some glue on some spots. See if I can open it. Uh-oh. I thought I broke my glue, but I'm good. I'm just gonna add a bit of glue to my palette. Make sure I don't mix any paints with it from now on for the rest of the night. Otherwise that paint will be very hard. And I'm just gonna dapple or dab the I thought I got no, I didn't. My pants are clean. I didn't show you my pants yet. Maybe that'll be the end of an end of a stream kind of thing. So I'm just gonna put some glue on the green areas that we talked about before. So just all of those little green areas, put a little dab of glue, A little dab will do ya. Just gonna, whoops. There we go. Just here and there. Some green area cover. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to be putting on the flock. And again, we're just going to be sprinkling on some flock. You don't need too much, just for a little bit of effect. And I'm gonna blow it into this container. Some of it got in my eyeball. It's okay. Maybe it's better to tap. There. Now it looks a bit weird because the glue's still white, so that'll dry clear though, and then it'll be a nice mossy surface. So with that, the roof is pretty much done. We still have to dry brush the other areas, but it's still wet, so we'll wait. But you can see that we're nearly done the house. I mean, that, guys, is what it will look like. Oh, I forgot to add moss to the. Let's do that now. Let's add moss to the bottom of the house. And I'm just doing the same thing, just applying this wood glue over certain parts of the bottom, just adding some flock to that. More. And then, yes, there we go. Some nice areas for moss and whatnot. And again, we're just sprinkling it on. So I'll just pick it up. I'll just sprinkle a bit on. How much I want. Just like so. And there we go. So now we have all of the moss effects done. The hovel is nearly complete. We'll just need to dry brush some of the wood areas, but that will be done shortly. Now we can. This looks dry, so we can add a wash to this. Let's add a wash to this space here, because it looks pretty well dry, and we're gonna add. Yeah, let's go ahead and add strong tone. Should we add strong tone, or should we add a different color? Let's add a different color. Let's check it out. There's a wash I call it mild brown. So let's try mild brown. Never used this before, but I don't want to keep using my strong tone because I use it a lot. I don't want to waste it. So let's apply this mild brown Ooh, it's kind of a reddy color. Kind of a reddish. I kind of like that. Now, if you don't want to use wash up for terrain pieces like this, you can always make your own. You can always just make, like just mix some, water down some brown paint, and, or black paint, whatever you want, and mix it with water and just kind of wash it over. But the problem I have with that is I don't like the texture of my homemade washes. Maybe I'm not very good at it, or mixing it. But the commercial washes, well, not all of them, at least these ones, these quick shade army painter washes, I find they're a little thicker, so they don't just run away, and they actually do what they're supposed to do and stick in the recesses. When I make my own washes, I find it just runs off. It's hard to get the right consistency, I suppose. Now that was a little bit, so you can see I kind of fucked up here a little bit. Not sponsored, yes. I swear. Now part of this wasn't dry, so now it's creating a kind of screwing up my wash a little bit, but we'll just avoid that area and go back over it. It's okay, it'll show a little variance in the dirt color. And we're gonna dry brush this all again anyway, so once we do all of our effects, all of our layers, it should get hidden. Should get hidden. Okay. Where is my bag? So you notice I have this little patch. I have another patch that I'll do up by myself. In total I have 3 patches of palm trees. I have the little one that I showed you guys before that I made first. I have the big one that we kind of worked on last time. We kind of poked the trees in there. And then I have this medium one that I'm doing right now. But when we do our next battle, whenever that may be, or when we do our next Dwarven Forge build, or I don't know, whatever, our next thing using the trees, we'll have all 3 to work with. Whoops, that's red tone. I'm getting my washes mixed up, so I added a bit of red tone in there. We don't want that. It's a little bit too red. But we'll just mix it around. Should be fine. And over here. Just like so. We're nearly done. Nearly done. You know this this mild mid-brown color. I think it would be nice on wood. Like it looks like a nice mahogany kind of color. I should try it on if you ever get a longboat. Just try it on a longboat. Anyways, there we go. So that's all washed. Applied that on. We're gonna let that dry before we dry brush it. We're gonna check out our wood here, and it's almost completely dry. Just touch it, see. There's a few wet spots, so we'll have to wait a little bit more. In the meantime, we'll prepare some clumps of vegetation. So I'm just gonna put this house somewhere. I'll put it on my keyboard. And then I've got a bunch, so I went, I think this is a Woodland Scenics kit. I got it a long time ago, but it has different, I've used some of it, quite a bit of it actually. And it has different kind of clumps of vegetation. So it has this kind of like dry kind of shrubbery type stuff, which I don't think we'll use, because I want to use this more spongy. It's kind of like spongy shrubs, or could be like dense jungle foliage or something like that. We're gonna use some of that. We're gonna put some clumps on that, just to make little areas more interesting. Should be fun. So we'll get a few little clumps like that. Just prepare them for when it's dry, and we'll just spread them around. Yeah, it's I wonder if it's like styrofoam. I don't know what it's made of. It's not natural anyway. But it looks like moss. So we'll just tuck that aside, and we'll get started making a little dry brush. Now, what color? I think we're just gonna mix in some of this. We're gonna mix in some of this color with our existing brown to lighten it up a bit. And then we'll use that color to dry brush the windows and the doors and the floor. Did I even dry brush my floor in here? Oh yeah, I did. So we'll do the same thing. Do the exact same thing. Here, I'm running out of paper towel. I might have to get another one. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a fresh paper towel, because this one's soggy. Okay, I got our fresh piece of paper towel. And now we will mix that up and apply a dry brush. It's quite a light color, but we'll just do a subtle dry brush and it should look pretty good. Remember to just get most of the paint off of the brush, and then gently go over it, just lightly. Remember, the lighter the color of the dry brush compared to your base color, the kind of lighter your touch you want to be. You want to have a very light touch if you have a large contrast in the color of your base coat and dry brush. But just like so, creates a nice grainy wooden effect. You can kind of go around it, circles, and really bring out the grain of the underlying popsicle sticks. When it's drying up too much, just apply a little bit more and just dry it off again on that paper towel. Alright, there we go. Yeah, we're getting that nice and dry brushed look. Kind of old wood look. And there we go. We'll do the same thing for the door. Go up and down, side to side. This is nice and relaxing. Just get to paint up these doors and windows. And you get to see it all come together. There we go. Full paint. Dry it off. Okay. So once you do dry brushing a few times, you'll get different, you'll get the feel of it, I guess. So I'll be able to feel if it's, if you want to go heavier. So sometimes you want to go less paint on the brush, but press harder and be more aggressive. Sometimes you want more paint on the brush and just have a light touch. Sometimes you want very little paint on the brush and have a light touch. There's all different kind of ways to do it. And as you practice, you'll find the techniques that you want for the type of effect you want. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Doors kind of all old and painted, and now we'll do the floorboards. Just make sure this is dry. It's not quite dry, so we're just going to do a very light dry brush just to see if we can dry some of those bits up. And I'll just do little circles in here so I can cover it. Just little circles. There we go. I'll put a little bit more paint on the brush. Dry it up. And delicate. Too much. Creating streaks. We don't want streaks. So just dry it off a little bit more. And then just go little circles. Something like that. There we go. And once it becomes really dry, you'll find that you can be a little more aggressive, and it'll just pick up the raised areas and leave the recesses still dark. So we'll dry brush that a little bit more. Again, making sure it's quite dry. There. There. The floor is looking really nice. Really nice. Just like a regular old wooden floor. You can see there. And with that, I believe we are done the house. So, I'll set that aside and we can compare them later. That's basically done. Looks great. Let's check out our. So this is still wet, but I think we can add some clumps. Sure, why not? We can add some clumps. Let's add this. Take some glue. Yeah, so it's the roof is a little darker than the other one for sure, because I started with that dark wash, but it's definitely not like, it's definitely a different color than when we started the wash. And you'll notice that with minis. And other stuff too. The wash, when you first apply the wash, compared to when it dries, will be different. All right. So usually I would just let this dry, and then dry brush it, and then apply the foliage. But since we have nothing to do right now, we're just gonna put the foliage on now. It's fine. We're just gonna put a little clump here, I think. Right where I messed up where my paint was. See? Sometimes there's a little divot here. Sometimes when the paint's, when you screw up, the paint wasn't dry here, it made a big muddled mess. Well, that's okay, because you can just fix it. You just put a little clump there. Hide it. Why not? Just do that. And we'll just put that little clump there, and that'll stick. And it looks... Hey, check that out. There we go. See that? And then I'm just going to put a little bit more glue on this so it sticks together, so it doesn't fall apart. I know it looks kind of ugly. It looks white right now, but that'll dry up clear, or almost clear. Clear enough. Clear enough for us. And then to really get that solid later on, we'll go ahead and spray that. Maybe we'll spray some watered down glue on it, and just harden it up. But right now, that's fine. Yeah, exactly. I'm burying the evidence. So I'm burying the evidence there, and I'm going to bury another little spot by this tree over here. Oops, I like that. Bury the evidence. There we go. Oh, my dog heard me knock over a container, and he thinks it's someone at the door. Fooled. I think we'll just do a smaller clump over here. I don't want to go overboard on these ground covers, because I do want to put miniatures here. So there's too many bushes, like it's hard to put miniatures down. I might put a small one by this tree. Nah, I'm not. Yeah, I'll put a small one by this tree. Why not? Why not? There we go. Just like that. And then maybe one over here. Maybe one over here might be fun too. One right there. Sure. That looks good. And then we'll save these for later, because we don't need that much. Where did I put it? Oh, there's a bag. So that's pretty much it. We have that done. You'll notice, so I'm not going to finish this tonight because it's going to take a little while for that to dry. But the next stage is just, we saw this last time with the trees, is just dry brushing it. A simple dry brush and a light sand color, lighter than the base coat. And then just sprinkle some flock and static grass like we did for this tree last time. And then this will be done. And we'll have two nice clumps of palm trees. And to show you together, I'll just move everything to the side and you can kind of compare. And I'll show you what we did over the past 2 weeks. This week and last week. So here was my original house. Got a nice long house. And this one I didn't cut out windows for. It's just a outside closed window. And we have a little palm there. And then we have a few palm trees in the background here. Maybe we'll push this a little closer. Just a little patch here. And then we have a brand new house right here. And we got a nice little village. Complete. There we go. We can put our little Milicianos Indios here that I just painted up. Maybe they're coming out of the hovel to fend off some invasion or something. But we're just about done, Thomas. Thanks for coming back. How was your dinner? But yeah, that's basically basically it. You can these are nice little playable areas. The roofs come off, so you can, that comes off there. The other one comes off here, and they'll be good for something like D&D, Blood and Plunder, any war game, any 28mm war game. Yeah, I thought we went through this chicken talk. It was the 50% off deal. Ooh, nice. Thai seafood curry sounds very good. Well, I think that's still better than microwaving a hot dog. That Thomas was appalled at when we were hanging out a while ago. Hey, I still really liked your Lola. I still really liked your spinach. No, not spinach. Your asparagus and eggs. That was some skills right there. All right, I'm gonna put this away. I don't know if did I show you guys the cannons I made before? I don't remember if I showed you guys these, but I painted these up a little while ago. We used them in a stream. I think they were in the battle stream, but some heavy cannons I painted up, and I tried the brass with green, but the green wash didn't really show up too well. They're like slightly green, but not as green as I'd hoped. But they do like look nice, like large bronze cannons. But yeah, I painted those up. Those are kind of cool. My next paint job, I'm not sure. I have some more Spanish units to paint. I'll probably paint up some lanceros, which are like they're like warriors with pikes, sailors with pikes, or militia with pikes. Whatever you want. Yeah, I like the bronze effect. Even though the green still not showing, it's nice and looks nice and heavy, which these are heavy cannons as opposed to the light ones that on most ships. Dragoons. Yeah, they don't have any mounted pikemen or mounted lanceros yet, but I think come next year there's the new Kickstarter, Blood and Plunder Kickstarter, came out a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, I forget. But I believe they'll have mounted options for lanceros, so mounted lanceros, which are cool. I think I've never tried mounted stuff in Blood and Plunder because I don't own any, and they're like too big and heavy to own, I think. But yeah, we'll paint some. Maybe one of these days we'll paint up some lanceros. We'll do another. We'll use all of this in a land battle. I'm kind of excited to do that. So, since we went through the painstaking, well, not painstaking, but long journey of crafting these terrain pieces, we'll go ahead and use them in a land battle. I don't know if we'll do the lanceros first or the land battle first, but we'll figure that out. Do you guys have an idea? What would you like to see next? Do you want to? I think Low Life mentioned he liked the painting, but do you guys want to see painting next, or do you want to see online scythe? Ooh, yeah, I'd be keen to try that. I'd be down. Oh, Alex, you've never played Scythe? You'll have to learn. It's a board game. It's quite fun. Yeah, it's like a resource management risk type but not risk board game. I don't know how to explain it. It's a little bit complicated, but not as bad as a war game, not as bad as D&D, I don't think. Oh, you're playing it right now? Who's winning? Who's winning? I bet Thomas is winning. He always seems to win suspiciously. Unless he's in the bathroom and then last time he went to the bathroom and I ended up winning. Or no, he walked the dog maybe. He walked the dog and I ended up winning when he was gone. Yay. Ah, 2 turns in. Okay. Well, you'll have to let me know how it goes. He posted the picture. I'll check WhatsApp later. Didn't we play 3 times? I don't think I won the 3rd time. Well, did we play more than 2 times? Or more than 3 times? I don't know. Anyways. Yes, we can do that one time. That'll be fun. I'll also do another terrain or painting thing here. We'll figure out that both. Or figure out which one to do first. But, yeah. I guess if you guys don't have any questions about tonight, about the painting or the miniature terrain making or what you want to do next, besides scythe, I might call it a night. It's already 9 o'clock. But yeah. Thanks. Yeah, no, the house was fun to make. We can use these for D&D too. Ooh, okay, I'll do a survey on Twitter. See what happens. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do a poll. But yeah, thanks guys so much. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. Thanks for watching and going through this journey with creating these houses with me. I think they look great. I'm pretty happy with them. And yeah, we'll do more in the future. So thanks guys. Have a good night, and we'll see you later.